Hi, Chris. Russ Brown, Kentucky today. You mentioned yesterday on the ACC call that it's especially important to get off to good starts on the road, and of course that hadn't happened the last couple of games. Has that been an emphasis this week, and what do how do you reverse that?
There we go. Are we good? Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a complex question, because I think when people think of good starts, bad starts, they just assume the score. Obviously, that's the part that matters. I get that, but what caused the score? Is it your lack of communication? Is it something that we've gone over multiple days in a row that our guys should be able to execute on rep one? Is it just lazy passes? What is leading to it? If it's tough shots that the other team's hitting, if you're doing everything that we feel like is necessary to win the game, if your guys are playing hard, but things just aren't bouncing your way, that's what I'm more concerned about when I say starting strong. Everybody wants to get out 10-0, but that's not always going to be the case. I just want to make sure that our team on the game floor looks the exact same as our team on the practice floor, with our communication, our readiness, our understanding of what's happening on either end of the floor. And usually that it helps when you have a veteran team. So we've had to learn some things the hard way. I don't know how you work on that other than just to continue to address it, address those habits that maybe leak when the game starts, if that's your issue.
Kent?
Yeah, Chris, after last game, you said that you thought that Sam needs to just play harder. Two parts here. Number one, do you think, even though it's just been a few days, has he answered that bell in practice? And then when he does get to that point, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think that, Sam and I had a really good talk, coming off the heels of the Virginia Tech game. Obviously, he was disappointed that he wasn't any type of factor in the game. But, I just, as I told you guys, I told Sam the same thing. I'm not trying to pull any punches. We need greater effort from Sam. And I think when he gets lost in the game, whether that's physically rebounding, whether that's slashing to the rim, communicating his switches, just being immersed in the game and not worried about, is the ball finding him? And again, that isn't necessarily the issue. I don't want, to come across as though he's in his mind waiting for the ball to come to him. But I just know that happens to players a lot that know they have the ability to score. And I think if he gets lost in the other things that really matter for our team, hard plays on the ball, taking charges, rebounding on both ends of the floor, ball pressuring at his position when he's on defense, then good things tend to happen for guys. And I really liked Sam's response over the last few days. As his coach, I'm hoping that it bodes well for him tomorrow. But if he gets off to a poor start, he's got to be able to mentally put that behind him and continue to do those things that I just talked about. And I think he's a lot further along doing that than he was a week ago with his mindset.
Go to Jeff and then Shannon.
Chris, I'm curious with the length that you guys have at guard and wing now with this roster, how does that help you defensively and philosophically what you're trying to do on the defensive end?
Well, I just think if you have length, you're a lot easier. It's a lot easier to cover ground, get deflections. So much of the game, Jeff, is ball screens defensively. You're put in a ton of different ones, all different angles. And generally, if that ball handler can throw a straight line pass, whether it's to the roll man or to the skip pass when a defender is helping on the roll, if they can throw straight line passes, it leads to bad closeouts, ball getting in the lane, and bad things happening. So I think with guys that we have on our team, our ability to close out with length, our ability to disrupt vision in ball screen situations, and also contest shots. I think that's a big deal. That leads to lower field goal percentage for an offense. And we're not a finished product by any means, but we've got some guys that certainly have good length.
Shannon?
So speaking of length, JJ Trainer, who we just spoke to, has been able to really use his wingspan to affect your defense. How do you think he has progressed just through his first 9 games in the college game, and where do you want him to improve?
Yeah, I mean, JJ is a freshman. He's going to have ups and downs. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tickled pink in terms of like what he's done this year. He's physically really behind. But as I told him in the very beginning of the year, if he can do whatever he can do to make sure that he doesn't get bullied off his spot, whether that's blocking out, whether that's cutting off a driver, he lacks physical strength. But the one thing that he doesn't lack is toughness. And a lot of times that's really hard to identify when you're recruiting a young man out of high school because they don't necessarily need to be physical. They can just hang around, in JJ's case, hang around the basket and block shots. But you never really see a talented body pushing against a guy in high school. And JJ gets here and he's going against guys that are 3 and 4 years older than him. And I think he's done a marvelous job. He's got a ways to go, playing him a little bit out of position. At times he's playing, mostly the 5, which we've never envisioned him doing. But he can catch. I think at his best, he can finish lobs. He's intelligent. He's a great teammate, and he's taking in everything just like a freshman does and makes some mistakes here and there, but he's getting better and better.
To Matt and then Russ.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. I've got kind of a 2-part question for you. I know you guys don't really pay that much attention to the rankings, but one, were you kind of surprised to see you guys go up to number 16 after being unranked for 3 weeks? And then 2, do you think it is an accurate representation of where your team is at right now?
I don't really care about the rankings. I don't even think about how much, we jumped. I don't even know what we were ranked last week, if we were even ranked. So like that, I don't know. I care less. So the second part of your question probably isn't easy to answer for me because I could really care less about where we're ranked. I mean, next Monday, we'll have 3 more games under our belt in our league. We'll know a lot more about our team, and that's not to say that we'll have arrived or not arrived. It's a long process. I think, the ranking is great for recruiting. Your name's on the bottom line. But it incentivizes the team that you play, and it cannot entitle the team we are. So that's how I feel about the rankings.
To Russ.
Yeah, Chris, regardless of the slow starts, you won 2 road games in the ACC, which obviously isn't easy to do. You've got 2 more coming up. Are you pleased with the approach this team is taking, being such a young team, to playing on the road, even though it's not the same as it has been in years past?
Yeah, it's not the same. But the one thing our team, doesn't lack on the sideline is spirit, is energy. I think it's needed when you go into empty buildings where it feels more like a scrimmage at times. But yeah, I mean, I think our team's got to get better on some details. We worked a lot over the weekend in situational work, up 1, 30 seconds to go, down 2, minute to go, because, we tend to not understand details, not execute details. And that goes with young players. That the great teacher is experience. And a lot of times it's failed experience that teaches you. And, we want to try to eliminate the failed experiences on game night and have them occur in practice and learn from them. But yeah, I mean, I like the approach, but I don't think we're nearly good enough right now to think that we can finish out and close out games just yet consistently.
Coach, that'll do it for today. Thank you for joining us, and thanks to everyone else for joining us.
Peace out, media.